So, really quickly, we'll hit these two fights and the look ahead. Uh, we'll get through them quickly, so we're not here for another another hour. So, Francis Ngannou taking on Ciryl Gane for the UFC heavyweight. Actually, it's champion versus champion. Ciryl Gane is the interim heavyweight champion taking on Francis Ngannou. Uh, yeah, interesting fight. Lucky Locks, give me your initial take on this fight.
I've gone back and forth on this one so many times, man. When you told me we were going to talk about this one, I was like, they're going to make me say something out loud here. But yeah, I'm really, really, really looking forward to this one, actually. As soon as this got announced, I was super pumped to see this. And I mean, Ciryl Gane is like, it's pretty much a pick 'em, but I feel like Gane is slightly favored, I want to say, in a lot of places. I haven't looked at the line, just recently,
You
but
can, sorry,
it's
yeah,
flip-flopped back and forth.
you can get pretty much plus money on both sides right now.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you are able to get plus money on Francis Ngannou, it kind of feels wrong to do so, but I mean, I'm hard-pressed to go against Gane in this spot just because, I mean, he lands more strikes. He's more accurate. I feel like his striking defense is a little bit better. I feel like he's a little more mobile. And obviously, I mean, Francis could just come out here and wax this guy, but I keep going back to, like, if he doesn't do that, like, is he going to be able to beat Gane down the stretch in the fight? And basically, that's kind of where my lean comes in. I'm not looking to lay chalk on either side here. If I am going to bet Ciryl Gane, I would probably be targeting maybe that, like, 4-5 decision prop. I feel like this is one where if it does get into those rounds, it's definitely going to favor Gane. But I mean, we've been seeing really good improvements out of Ngannou. I mean, last fight against Stipe, I thought he looked great. I thought he looked much improved. So I just think this is going to be a banger fight. I got to slightly go with Ciryl Gane in this one, though, for my initial lean.
Yeah, I agree. So the way that I see it right now, Ciryl Gane is sitting at plus 100 at FanDuel, and Francis Ngannou is sitting at minus 102 at Bet Online. So you can almost get plus money on both sides. Liam, what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, man. This is a tricky fight as far as I'm concerned. I think that, Francis has been good to me historically, right? I feel like I've done a decent enough job getting on and getting off the train at the right time. Had a small Stipe bet the first time, had a small Francis bet the second time, and had some Francis round 1 and 2 action as well there. So, man, this is a little different, though. I think that it's one thing to beat an aging Stipe, whom I love and have great respect for. Ohio, stand up. But I think that this is, a different kind of challenge. Ciryl Gane knows Francis in and out, trained together for years. Important factor in my view. It's one thing, we talked about it's the intimidation factor. It's the mythos that goes into a dominant champion like Amanda Nunes that shakes her opponents before she gets in there. It's the dominating, scary power of Francis Ngannou. When you slip on a banana peel and one punch changes everything at heavyweight, that is the reason why so many guys are broken before they get in there. They're shaking in the back, hearing this guy hit the pads. And for better or for worse, Ciryl Gane looks cool as a cucumber every time he steps in the cage. He's like, happy to be here, whatever. Just, I guess I got to beat this guy up now. And then just casually drop somebody a million shots from the outside without getting touched. And you're like, did that just happen? I bet him against Derek Lewis, bet him inside the distance there. Regret not going bigger in retrospect. I just think this guy has got a lot of upside, a lot to like. Less people aware of him at this point. I think there's a reason that he's not coming in as the favorite here outright, which is that, people want to put some respect on the power of Francis here after, last time he shut everybody up. I will just say, I thought that Stipe had very credible moments against Francis in both fights. But in the second fight, he looked too small to make things happen, and his wrestling was very ineffective, just couldn't get anything physically going against this guy. I think Gane is going to be, able to match him a little bit physically, if not in the power department, in the grappling. And there's a grappling path for Ciryl Gane that I don't think people are talking about here. He could hop on the back and submit this guy. Francis has obviously been working in the United States, so I'm sure he's improving at a pretty fast pace. But he's like 34, 35. I'd have to double, don't kill me if I got that wrong. Maybe he's 33. He's not a young man by any means.
I think
Ciryl Gane is a little younger, I believe. So I think that Cyrill's making improvements here.
Ngannou is, I believe, 37.
Yeah, remember? Liam, shoot yourself in the foot. I thought I was going too old. Yeah, he's freaking older than dirt.
Is he actually 37 years old?
I believe so, yeah. Because remember we said last week that Francis Ngannou was older than Jose Aldo.
Dude,
holy shit.
What? You're blowing my mind right now. I actually don't know how, but I did not know that.
35, it says on Wikipedia, September 5th, 1986. Jesus.
Okay, there you go.
He's still older than Aldo, so yeah.
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. That FanDuel plus 100 is looking a little appealing. I hope that people don't beat me to the punch here like they did on Kai Kara France last week, but I'm keep my eye on that.
Yeah, I'll say this, and I feel like this is the way that I normally break down fights. So this is kind of just like showing you how the sausage is made type thing. So Francis Ngannou, he's 11-2 since coming into the UFC. He's turned 6.9 units if you flat bet him on the money line in that stretch. He's turned all 11 of his wins inside the distance. He's turned 9 units profit on the inside the distance prop with an 11-2 record. However, those 2 losses are both by decision. You've made more money betting with just 2 wins and 11 losses. You've made more money betting against Francis Ngannou every single one of his fights to win by decision on his opponent, to win by decision, than you would have if you bet every single one of his fights on the inside the distance prop. 9.5 units because Derek Lewis and Stipe have. You look at Ciryl Gane, he's 7-0 in the UFC since coming in 2019. 3 of those 7 wins are by decision. 6 of Ciryl Gane's 7 wins, 6 of his 7 fights have gone over the betting total. Francis Ngannou, I don't think he has a chance of winning this fight by decision. Ciryl Gane has a chance of winning this fight either by decision or inside the distance. So I think Ciryl Gane is the bet to make. And if you want to get creative, and every time I say to do something like this, it's incorrect. But if you want to do something like this, you could do it. Ngannou inside the distance right now is like plus 115. You can get, if Gane ends up staying at plus money, you can get Francis Ngannou inside the distance at plus 115, Ciryl Gane at plus money if you wanted to, have some action on this fight and win either way. But I think Gane wins this fight. Any final thoughts on this one before we move to the co-main, Lucky Locks?
No, yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. I think between the 3 of us, we pretty much covered all the bases.
All right, so the co-main event, and I gotta say, this is a super treat and just a really intriguing matchup that we get to see now for the 3rd time. Brandon Moreno defends his UFC men's light flyweight championship against Deiveson Figueiredo. Liam, I'll let you go ahead with this one. Do you have any thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. This isn't a fight I've looked into in depth, and so it's potential that I'll change my mind a little bit as we get closer to fight time. But, last time the outcome sort of swayed my opinion on this fight. I was a Figueredo believer, and I felt like the holes in his game have been exposed a little bit by Moreno. I think Moreno's got better pace. I think he's got better cardio. I think he's a better grappler. I think he's a better scrambler in the wrestling. And if you match better scrambling with pace and cardio, that means you can extend the scrambles for longer. So if you're doing poorly in the scramble, no problem. Just keep it going. And I think that the longer he's able to do that, the more Figgy is going to gas. That being said, wholesale lifestyle changes from Figueiredo here. Moved camp, training with Henry Cejudo, probably on a gang of designer steroids. And I appreciate that about him. That's probably going to be a factor in the fight. I just think he's too big for the weight. I think it's kind of like a Cody Garbrandt situation here. I think he's going to feel the impact of Moreno's strikes. I think in addition, Moreno's fast. He's getting better. He's got a lot of big opportunities ahead of him. If he can close this chapter of his career and put Figueiredo in the past. And I think Figueiredo still has life at the bantamweight division after he loses this fight. I just think, he's kind of making a mistake here and being bullheaded about wanting this rematch. Ask and you shall receive. I think he's going to get beat by Brandon Moreno inside the distance once again. And if not, I think Brandon Moreno still can outpoint him to a decision here, as he proved in the first fight, keeping it close.
Locks, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is an interesting fight. And I should disclose that, I'm not a big fan of too many fighters, but I am a Deiveson Figueiredo fan. I like the guy. I felt like he won the first fight. I'm not the only Figueiredo fan that, I'm a fan. Of course, I'm going to say that. Yeah. Some people agree with me. Some people don't. It is what it is. It was definitely close. But I did feel like he won. And I didn't play him in the second fight, though, because there's just something about it that just gave me a bit of a funny feeling. And, lo and behold, Figueroa looked not like himself at all in that fight. And I was just kind of like, what the hell was that? I didn't have any money on it. And that performance makes me really nervous about playing him again. And I'm not honestly sold on Brandon Moreno. I feel like I might even take Pantoja to beat him, which he already has. I might take Askarov to beat him if they were to make that fight. But it's more just like Liam said, Figueroa's huge for this weight. And if that's what he's going to look like after this cut, what he looked like last time, I'm not confident in betting him at all. And I feel like I would probably have to go with Moreno for an early prediction here. Be hoping for Deiveson, of course. But yeah, his time at 125 just might be done because what the hell was that last time? It didn't look like him at all. I don't know who that was, but didn't look like Deiveson to me. I feel like on his best day, he definitely could beat Moreno. And I feel like on his best day, he could beat anybody, but it just doesn't look like we're going to get too many of those good days at the 125-pound division anymore for Deiveson. So that is kind of pushing me over to the Moreno side. It's not really that I like Moreno that much. It's just that I don't know how much life Deiveson has left at 125.
Yeah. I got a lot to say here. I was, going back to even before this channel with odds.com and even before that, like from the very beginning of Deiveson Figueiredo getting into the UFC, I was a huge believer of this guy. And at one point when he first picked up the belt, when he picked up the belt with the win the second time over Benavidez, I feel like at that point he was the best flyweight on earth. And I think that includes Adriano Moraes over at One Championship. And I thought somebody like, Horiguchi coming down to flyweight or any of those guys, I thought Ryzen, One Championship, whatever, anybody who could get down to 125, I thought he was the best guy. I thought that he won the first fight against Brandon Moreno. And then the thing was, I thought when the second fight, when the odds came out, I was very confused because I was like, how is he still such a big favorite when the fight was so close? And I know that there was the narrative of, well, he was sick and he had a hard time cutting weight. And my reply then was, well, how do we know that it's not going to happen again? And it almost did happen again. Figueiredo had to take the extra 30 minutes to make weight when they met the last time. So I'll say it again. How do we know that he's not going to have issues cutting weight again? And I know that he's had a ton of lifestyle changes and moving to a different camp and stuff like that, but he's still Deiveson Figueiredo. He's not going to, it doesn't matter if you change your camp, you can't change your body. And that dude probably walks around at 175 pounds and cuts down to 125. And he is absolutely jacked. He could probably fight at featherweight if he wanted to, if he wasn't so short. And yeah, I don't. It's tough, and now it's so interesting. This fight really also, it reminds me. I made the comparison earlier. It reminds me of even with the draw. It reminds me of Wilder and Fury, because the first fight, Figueiredo comes in as a big like minus 290 favorite. They draw. They go again to the rematch. Figueiredo's a big favorite again. Moreno wins. And now it's completely flipped in the trilogy fight, with Moreno now a minus 165 favorite and Deiveson Figueiredo now the underdog. I got to say, it's tough to bet against my guy, Deiveson Figueiredo, especially at plus money. This might almost be a pass for me, because unless I can get Moreno, it's hard. I don't know. I have to break this one down a little bit more, because I want to bet Moreno inside the distance, but I wouldn't be shocked if this one was much more similar to the first fight, where it was just a drag out war that went 5 rounds. That is on the assumption that Figueiredo is going to look healthy and be able to make weight, and not have food poisoning or dehydration poisoning or something like that. This is a type of fight where you have to look at the weigh-in. You have to look at fight week. You have to look at you have to look at the factors outside of the cage. You got to look at all these non-tangible factors in this fight, because it's hard, a month out, to have a staunch opinion, because so much can change, especially with these flyweights. Yeah, I love the guy. I think Figueiredo at one point was one of the best flyweights on earth, if not the best flyweight on earth. But this might be the downward spiral, and it's hard to pass on him at plus money. But I would hate to do that and him just get starched again. So yeah, that's how I feel about that one. Liam, any final thoughts about that one?
Yeah, I just feel like from a confidence standpoint, it's going all the wrong way for Figueiredo here. The first time they have a draw, it's close enough. You can make an excuse. There's a this and a that going into it. And so they come out for a clean rematch. That's the idea. And Moreno has a lot more confidence, it looked like, than the first fight. And he shows up, performs admirably, able to get the finish victory. Is he going to be less confident now? Like, he's going to be much more confident now. He knows he could beat him. He knows he can go 25 minutes with him. He knows he's not afraid of the power like everybody else is. And so unless he gets hurt by a big shot, I feel like this is going to be a fight where Moreno is able to take it over as the fight goes on. Figgy, when he's at his best, is throwing a lot of like committed, heavy, high impact offensive maneuvers that tax the body of energy. And I think especially making all the lifestyle changes and everything with Henry Cejudo and those guys, I feel like the only way they could do that to change his body is going to have to dig into some of that muscle, going to have to dig into some of that power base. And then what are we left with? Are we going to turn him into a volume guy? It's possible that he could still land that big cracking power shot. I'd want to see it to believe it. He's looking like 88% of himself right now. If you look at his Instagram, it's kind of crazy, man. He looks like a different person physically. So that could be a good thing. It's just like, I kind of want to see it. He looks very thin. I'm worried about one of these effing leg breaks, man. Like, honestly, just looks like it looks a little unnatural, man.
Yeah, the thing that he did so well, Figueiredo, was the threat of his power. Like, if you go and look at the Benavidez fight, he hits him once and then he just starts walking forward, and Benavidez is just retreating, and Figueiredo is just coming forward, and it's the threat of the power that is so much more of an offensive tool. Moreno's now felt that power for more than two separate fights, a full 5-round fight, and then the fight that he won. He's felt that power. So unless something has changed, I would say advantage Moreno there. And then if Figueiredo's doing something to change, to take away a little bit of that power, then I got to go more advantage Moreno. Locks, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, just to tie it up, I mean, there's just a lot of question marks around Deiveson Figueiredo coming into this one. I feel like we kind of know what Brandon Moreno is going to look like. You know, like Liam said, he is going to be confident. He is going to come out there and know that he can compete and that he can win. And Deiveson Figueiredo, I mean, he looked pretty good in the first fight. When he was sick, he should have got sick again for the second fight because he looked horrible in it. And if he looks like that again, and I have money on him, like, I am not going to forgive myself. So this is more than likely going to be a pass for me because yeah, I mean, there's just too many question marks for me. And maybe once we get closer to fight night, I'll have a better read. But right now, it's just like, I believe Deiveson is better on his best day, but I just don't know if we're going to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. This again, I stand by it, and I've said this the past. I said this the last time that they fought. This is you cannot bet this fight like on a look ahead. So I'm gonna advocating for everybody that's watching this video for doing exactly that. You can't do that. You have to watch fight. You have to, and I never like to watch fight interviews, like media interviews. At least, I like to watch them for content purposes, but not for my betting purposes. I don't take in anything that a fighter says during fight week, but how they look, how they sound, just their mindset, that's different. And with Figueiredo in this fight, I think you got to look at how he looks on Wednesday media day, Thursday press conference, and the weigh-ins on Friday, because I feel like that helped me last time, because that's what got me off Figueiredo in the rematch and on Moreno. But I'll say this just to close on this, because the perfect thing to happen here, this is my opinion, Figueiredo loses, moves up to bantamweight, and fights Cody Garbrandt at 135 pounds. What do you guys think about that? Liam.
I know who I'd be betting in that fight, and it's not Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid matchup. Locks, what do you think?
Dude, I'd love to see that fight. I mean, they obviously were talking about doing it. Did it get booked and then Cody got COVID, or were they just talking about it and then he got
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that.
I really wanted to see it, man. And I'd love to see it now because I feel like my guy Deiveson would probably be able to get it done. So I'd like to see that one for sure. And I'd probably pick Figueiredo, more of a fade on Garbrandt, but I don't know. Both guys haven't looked great recently, so who knows what could happen. But yeah, I'd probably lean towards Deiveson there. Healthier weight cut.
The problem is they're both cutting. Well, I mean, at least with Cody now recently, and Figueiredo the whole time. Although I do feel like Figueiredo has fought. I don't know if he's fought at 135 before. I know that he's fought at 125 and missed weight by like 4.5 pounds. So almost 135, but not quite. But yeah, I feel like I feel like Figueiredo is the type of guy where he's wasting his career fighting at 125 now, because I feel like if he moves up to 135, as long as it's matchup specific and isn't fighting a 6-foot guy like Sean O'Malley, he could have a lot of success, because I feel like his power is going to move up. Like I said, he's probably walking around 175 pounds. But anyways, that is, we actually, we got a solid, that's a solid month away. So that'll be fun to look forward to.